Well, hello, model car fans. Welcome to the Muscle Car Modeler. My name is Raul, and this week I'm going to show one of my older builds here. This is an AMT 1966 Corvette Coupe. This is one that I had restored, and this is the result of it. I built it a few years back before I started my channel, but I'll focus on the build and everything here in a little bit. But first, to tell you a little bit more about the 66 Corvette and some of the changes and options and everything that was going on with it. The biggest thing it's known for is being the first year that the 427 was available in the Corvette. Well, basically that was the first year of the 427. The 65 Corvette is the only year that has a 396 in it. And, you know, when the displacement increased to 427, it immediately went into the Corvette option catalog. Now, when it comes to the 66 Corvette, it didn't really change a whole lot from 65, but there are some changes. We'll notify some of them here. One of the biggest things when you look at a 65 and 66, you know, they keep changing these side vents here just a little bit, but for 66, it didn't change. 65 and 66 are the same. The chrome up here changed a little bit. The biggest thing was the fuel-injected small block was no longer available for the 66. It was dropped. So the emblem here changed a little bit. This one is representing a small block car. Another thing that really points out a 66 is right here. There are no grills or vents on the B pillar, is what it B or C pillar, depending on how you call it. But yeah, there's no vents for 66. That was the first year they vanished. 65, they're there. 64 and 63 had them as well. Of course, you know, the one-piece rear window. The Corvette emblem on the back. Backup lights was an option. I built this one pretty much without. I got the actual 1966 plate from the annual. This is an annual. Hasn't actually been re-released that I know of. Another thing on the 66 that makes it stand out is the Corvette emblem on the hood. That's a one-year only thing. They didn't do that in 67, and they didn't do it in 65. The grill was the first year for the egg crate style instead of the bars. And AMT pretty much had all that in there. And then this is the flat hood right here that, you know, one of the things that signifies a small block car versus a big block car. Now, the option sheet is a lot of fun, and I like looking at them and really reading them, because on Corvettes, it's really easily available on multiple sites. I really like to go over them and really, you know, entertain myself. So the base model started with a 327 300 horsepower engine and a 3-speed manual. That was the base package. The coupe was $4,295 for the base package in the coupe. The convertible was a little bit cheaper, basically almost $200, a little bit more than $200 cheaper. The convertible with the base 327 3-speed manual transmission was $4,084. But as soon as you jump right into the options sheet, some of the most expensive options jump right out at you, which is why these things got so expensive so fast. Air conditioning was a $412 option, and only 12% of them actually got it. It's like 13%. It's kind of fun to just see some of that stuff. The convertible, the auxiliary hardtop for the convertible was $231. So as soon as you bought a convertible and you ordered the optional hardtop for it, that made it just a few dollars more than the base coupe. So convertibles outsold coupes almost 2 to 1. It's like 64% convertibles, 35% coupes. So, you know, the coupes really stand out, but the convertibles were much more produced. And matter of fact, you know, through all years, the convertible outsold the coupe up until I think 69. I think that was the first year that the coupe actually outsold the convertible. But, you know, with the options, it brought it up. Now, some of the more expensive options as well, special heavy-duty brakes for $342. Now, only 382 cars got that. So, very, very rare option. The engines got a little bit expensive, but not by much. The second level 327 was a 350 horse L79. It was a $105 option. But you jump into the 425 horse 427, that was a $312 option. So a little bit more, or a little bit less than the brakes actually. So it's kind of funny looking at that. And some of the other cheap options, there's some cheap ones in there. The off-road exhaust, which is basically louder exhaust, that's optional, but only 10% of the vehicles actually got that, and it was a $36 option. The 36-gallon big tanker option was available in 66, but only 66 cars got it. And that was a $200 option, $198.05 for the tank. Probably the rarest option, one of the two, but the rarest is the M22 close ratio manual transmission. Only 15 cars got that with $237, as far as the option price on that. One of the things that cracks me up on it, and like this car, the backup lights, I don't have them on there, but they were part of a package. They were in there. But the hazards, I thought by 66 hazards were federally mandated, but it's listed as an option for a whole whopping $11.60. Now, $11 in 1966, that's like $200 today. But 20% of the vehicles got that option. So not very many of these actually have functioning hazards. So, some of that stuff's kind of fun to think about. So, without going any further into the options, I did this one in yellow. It's Sunfire yellow, and only 8% of the cars got that, and it only came with black interior, so no options as far as that goes. But in these body styles, it pretty much had some pretty standard colors: tuxedo black, ermine white, rally red, Nassau blue, Laguna blue, trophy blue, a couple of blues there, Mosport green, which I really like that color, this Sunfire yellow, silver pearl, and Milano maroon. All the colors I like, but I'm building so many of these different Corvettes in this body that I'm pretty much doing all the colors, because I have all the coupes, all the convertibles, and a couple of extras. So playing around with them, I'm pretty much getting all the colors built. So meanwhile, let's take this outside, show it off in the sun, and see how this yellow pops in the sun, and then we'll talk more about the build. Well, here she is, the 66 Corvette out here in the Arizona sun in this Sunfire yellow color. Just looking awesome here. Love this color, especially with the gold line tires. Just looks awesome. And that 1966 plate, this is the AMT annual here. Yeah, it was a good one to restore. But that paint, it's just looking really good. Now this one, I don't remember if I used scale finishes paint. I did this one a while ago. I did a bunch of these restorations all at the same time. So this one's been done a while. But since I did one as a big block 66, the Roadster, which I've shown a few years back on the channel. This is the Coupe, and just was an easy restore. Had all the parts, just had to get the chrome redone and kept it a small block, and it came out awesome. Just love the way it's shining here in the sun. Added that mirror, which the kit didn't come with. Just all the details here. It's looking really, really good. No backup lights. They were an option. But there she is. Here we go. A little wobbly on this stand, but that's okay. You try to get them perfect, but you don't always get them perfect. And anyway, she's looking real good, so we'll head on back inside and I'll tell you more about the actual build. All right, when it comes to this actual build, this was a rebuilder. I was scouring eBay and picking a bunch of them up here. So I got a few pictures of what I started with, and then stripping it down and searching out some of the parts. But between the two I got together, I got the 66 Coupe and the convertible together, and I had plenty of parts to build this car. And then the convertible, I decided I had most of the parts, but not all the parts, so I was going to have a little bit more fun out with it. So that's why that one got a big block. I bought a Model House big block hood for it, put side pipes on it, and knockoff wheels and everything. Had a lot of fun building that one, but this one I built it right out of the box. And so being that was the case, one of the things that kind of stands out to me, I added the mirror though. Kit didn't come with this rear view mirror. Got it from a couple of different kits. I can't remember exactly where that came from, but there were a few that came from. Now, one of the things it stands out in these annuals is they have the grab handle there. Now, they did get filled in on later ones, and the 67 is filled in, and reissues all have the handle filled in. If you're crafty enough, you could drill it out. Now, I detailed the dash in there. I did the all black interior. Other colors were available, but in yellow, it was only black interior. So I had to do this one in black once I picked the color. Did the wood steering wheel, which was an option. The small block here. And in this small block, because I had the cast aluminum valve covers, I did this one as the optional L79 350 horse 327, which really was not a slouch when it came to it. But the fuel injection was dropped for this year, so this was the top small block. But then you had the two 427s that were available in the car. One was 390 horse, and the other one was 425 horse. So both pretty potent, but I believe they were both just single 4-barrel carbs. The tri-cut power option only came out in 67, so not available in 66. I went with the base hubcaps, but I did go with the yellow line tire, well, gold line tires actually, which was an option. I believe black walls were standard, white walls were available, and then gold line, that was the top performing tire at the time, and pretty rare. I think 20% of the cars actually got that. So I wanted to do this one that way, and since I had all the parts, that's what I went with. Like I mentioned, the annual year on the rear, and then pretty easy to detail it out. But here's the underside. The exhaust is molded in. You just detail paint it and everything. On the one that I removed, it was a lot harder to do, but I did do it. Just kind of put the side pipes in there. But I had some fun restoring this one, and just left this one all alone. So there's another shot of the engine, and then you can see the washer bottle. Maybe it's hidden way over here, but same thing like on this side. If you can get a light in there, the battery is way in there, along with the purge bottle. It's kind of hard to get in there because I got all these lights and they're at the wrong angles. But anyway, there you go. You can see that, and the battery's right below it. But it's all in there. But this was a nice one and a fun one, and just like the way these ones look. And I got most of them finished. I've got some extras to build, but I haven't featured a Corvette in a while, and I've been kind of working on some here and there. I've got so many Corvettes in my stash to build and rebuild, and some of the restored ones that I've featured on the channel. You can look back in my built-ups for the ones that I have done. There's a few that I still haven't featured, and I'll get to those. I haven't done too many of these features lately, so I figured I would do this one, share this one with you, dig it out, and show it off a bit. So you guys, thank you for tuning in, subscribing, and all your comments and everything. I really do appreciate it, you guys. You have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you next time.